Monday, March 7th here in Canada. You know, it's undeniable now that there were UN troops in Ottawa 2 weeks ago when the Emergencies Orders Act was enacted. Trudeau's brown shirts went in to clean out the city in a weekend. Now, apparently, before that action, there were 800 cops in Ottawa. And the police chief, whether it was the one who quit or the interim operator replaced them, said they needed 1,800 more cops. Now, it's obvious they couldn't get a hold of that many cops because they brought in the UN troops. Now, I've mentioned it before, the attraction for the police officers. I mean, yeah, break from the family, accommodation, travel, some serious overtime, and they didn't have to do the hokey pokey. They avoided the mandate, although how long that lasts, I don't know. But it's obviously couldn't attract enough police officers in Ontario to go up there and do that, so they had to bring in the UN troops. Now, I haven't seen one mention of that in mainstream media. Yes, I suffer through watching mainstream media as well as Trudeau's speeches in parliamentary sessions. I have to, as much as I want to go Elvis on my TV sometimes. You know how he used to get mad at his TV and shoot it with a 45? It's kind of what I feel like when I'm watching Trudeau. Except I don't have a 45 and I can't afford to shoot my phone. But anyways, no mention of this in the independent media either. Or if there has been, I haven't seen it. And not a whisper in Parliament, not a mention of bringing in UN troops. I mean, if I was a parliamentarian, I'd be standing up and saying, hey, Mr. Speaker, ask Sock Boy there, how many of them did he bring in? And at what cost to the taxpayer? What did it cost to bring those UN troops in? Couldn't have just made deal with the cops he had and maybe taken 4 days to get his way instead of 2? Not a word of it. Not a word of it. Now, people say UN peacekeepers. My roommate and I, we get along fabulously, but are polar opposites in our politics. So, of course, we spend most evenings debating politics. And he's like, well, UN peacekeepers, they're good guys. You know, that's what they do. They come in, they're not carrying arms, they stand around to keep the peace. I was like, well, it didn't look terribly peaceful up there on occasion, in Ottawa, I mean. And not everybody likes the UN peacekeepers. Some people would say basically they're just mercenaries, hired thugs. And there's been incidences of them where they're in occupation to keep the peace, where some unpleasant but not uncommon soldierly activities transpire. I'll leave it at that. But again, you would think somebody would be concerned. Again, did we need them? How do you justify bringing them in, Mr. Trudeau? How many and at what cost? But so I think that's all I had on this. Again, I'm still kind of off my oats. I'm not as sharp as I'd like to think I am usually. Yeah, that's it for this one. Thanks for listening, folks.